As you know, I am a huge fan of Lapua brass. It is well made, it is consistent, and it is the choice of champions across multiple disciplines. So when Gavin told me he got in some 6GT, I just had to go give it a try. Let's go have some fun. I'm F-Class John for Ultimate Reloader, and I know a lot of you have been waiting to switch over to the 6GT because Lapua announced they were making brass for it last year, and the wait is over because it is now available on the market. The 6GT is a great cartridge and has really taken over in the competition world, but it is also a great hunting cartridge as well. In between the 6.5 Creedmoor and the 6 Dasher, it's really found a place that allows for extra case capacity, good speeds, and a really wide range of bullets that it can perform with. Before we got loading up with the 6GT, I wanted to take a look at the brass and see how it spec'd out. And here's what we found. We took 20 pieces of brass, and with an average length of 1.796, that had a very low SD of 0.8, right? That is incredibly consistent on the overall length, and only 3 1/1000ths on the ES, which is a really, really tight spread overall for the length. The next thing that we took a look at is the case weight average, and you will notice that it came out at 157.87, and it had about 1/10 on the SD, and just under half a grain spread overall for the case weight. Next up, and what I think is the most important data point here, is the neck wall thickness. Now, it came in at an average of 0.0128, and that is going to be a little bit thinner in terms of what is left for you to turn down, but the fact is most of these chambers are now going to be a no-turn chamber, and I think that's really where this brass came in. For people who still want to turn, there's still enough meat there, but if you're going to shoot a no-turn, it's a great neck wall thickness as well, and it's really going to help with bullet seating and bullet release. If we look at the SD on this case neck thickness, it is incredibly tight at just 2.5, which is insanely good, and the ES was at 0.8. So, I mean, if you really think about it, that neck wall thickness consistency across 20 pieces of brass had a spread of 0.8, which is, I mean, it's just insanely small, and it really gives you confidence that if you are going to shoot a no-turn chamber, you are getting the most consistent necks on the market right now. On top of the dimensional specs that we looked at, we also did a water capacity test, and we found that the Lapua brass was within half a grain water weight capacity to the Alpha brass, showing that both of them are basically within the same range and are really going to be spec'd for competition use. Now that we're done looking at the specs, it was time to load up a few rounds, head out with a couple different rifles, and see how the brass performed. In preparing for this, we just took Varget with some arrow match bullets and, of course, seated them to a nominal length that we knew would be safe. You'll see that the Sig Cross, which is just an AR hybrid bolt action, lighter weight hunting style rifle, did perform better with this particular load, coming in at 0.53 on the first group and 0.55 on the second group. And this kind of shooting will often dispel the myth that, you know, data on paper equals data on target. And if you look at the Bergara, this is a perfect example because the Bergara came in with a 2-string average SD of 4.6 with an ES of 10.3 and had a really nice velocity right around 2920. The Sig Cross, obviously a little bit shorter barrel, lighter weight, a little bit more of a hunting rifle, came in with a slightly higher SD of a little over 10 and an ES of 25. And that's not unusual to find when we take a nominal charge across a couple different guns. Ultimately, that's where load development comes in. And if we had a little more time to spend with each of these, I have no doubt we'd be dialing them both in. So where does the 6 GT really fit in at the end of the day? Well, it's not a Creedmoor and it's not a Dasher. It's actually right in the middle. And what I find interesting is that if we look at the 6.5 Creedmoor, it's got a shoulder angle of 30 degrees, slightly longer case. We then have the GT, which is going to be a 35-degree shoulder and a little bit smaller than the Creedmoor, and it is going to be sandwiched next to the Dasher, which is an even shorter case and a 40-degree shoulder. So I think that 35-degree shoulder is really a nice middle point between the 30-degree Creedmoor and the 40-degree Dasher, giving really good performance, great feeding out of a magazine, and the case capacity to really push some of these high-performance bullets. At the end of the day, I really wish I had more time to spend with this 6 GT. The Lapua brass did not disappoint. It loaded great, it shot great, and I know if I had a little more time with it, I would be dialing into the 10s with no problem at all. So if you've been waiting for the right chance, the right reason to switch into a 6 GT, I think this is it. Now, with that, I do hope you get to spend some time in the reloading room, have some fun out at the range, and we will talk later.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.